Hello and welcome back to the Court Sense podcast. It's been a couple weeks since the last episode, and in that time, the Big West landscape has shifted a bit for the Hawaii men's basketball team. UH rode a 3-game winning streak, started by a huge overtime win over UC Irvine, to get back to 500 in league play heading into this weekend's 2-game home set with conference co-leader UC Santa Barbara. One constant during the Rainbow Warriors' improved play has been sophomore guard Justin Webster, today's guest, who's gone from volume shooter in a pinch to the epitome of efficiency in the relatively short time since the co-captain arrived from the Hargrave Military Academy in Virginia. The reigning Big West Player of the Week is coming off an absurd shooting series against Cal Poly, in which he missed just twice in 15 attempts, never forcing anything and making seemingly every open look he got. That included 8 for 9 on threes, helping bump his scoring average to a team-high 13.8 per game on 51.4% overall shooting and 44.6% from long range. Compare that to 37.3% and 33% as a freshman. It's a remarkable leap. Meanwhile, the Rainbow Warriors are down to 11 available players following the confirmation by Aranganat that Bernardo da Silva is done for the year with an injury. Cameron Ng, the local walk-on, recently opted out citing COVID concerns, and JUCO pickup Manel Ayol went to the transfer portal a while back. While UH has still got more than enough players for a regular playing rotation, it hurts when it comes to practice prep and scouting opponents. It'll be interesting to see how the Bows negotiate that challenge the rest of the way. But now, let's get ready for the Man of the Week, Justin Webster. Check out Mike and Kara at No Ka'oi Automotive in Kalihi for all your vehicle repairs and maintenance needs. Quick turnaround, affordable, honest, and ASE certified. Call or text 842-6453 to schedule an appointment today. That's 842-MIKE or email nokaoiauto@gmail.com. The best part, mention the Court Sense podcast for a 10% discount. All right, and welcome back to the Court Sense podcast. It has been a couple weeks since we were on the air. We have a very timely and special guest this week, that being Justin Webster of the Hawaii men's basketball team, coming off a Big West Player of the Week honor and performance over the weekend in a 2-game sweep of Cal Poly. Justin Webster, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic. It's been a special privilege to get active players of the team on this season so far. You're the second guy. Kazan Jardine came on a few weeks ago, so I know you're in high demand this week, man. Coming off your award, haven't you been like hit up by every news organization on the island?
Everyone, Neil's been having me do a lot of stuff this week, but I enjoy talking to the people, and I enjoy telling them how we're doing, and I enjoy winning, so it's paying off.
Yeah, Justin, so you guys, after that 2-game sweep of Cal Poly, have pulled yourselves back up to 500 in the Big West Conference at an even 5-5, heading into what could be a pivotal 2-game home series against UC Santa Barbara this weekend. What is your general outlook for this 2-game set against the Gauchos, Justin?
They're a very, very experienced team, very talented team. They got, who I think is the league MVP right now, and Ja'Cory McCafflin. He's playing at a high level. So our job is just to maintain him, try to slow him down, try to take away easy looks for him. But, for us, all we got to do is continue to play hard, play as a team, and continue to do what we do that we've done these past 3 games. We've shown teams that we can play together, we can play as one, and that we can score the basketball. So, going into this week, we know what we have to do. We know that we have to lock in defensively, and on offense, we have to avoid scoring droughts, and we have to find easy looks for everybody on the team. So, we have a really good feeling going into this week. We're gonna prep the same way we've been doing each week, and we'll be ready to go.
Justin, it's pretty rare that any team gets 6 straight home games. It's just one byproduct of what's been a very strange season for I'm sure you guys as players, for the coaching staff, for watchers and supporters of the Rainbow Warriors, and then media types like me to make sense of in some ways. What has it been like for you guys as players, especially after that last series with UC San Diego was canceled and changed to you guys suddenly hosting Cal Poly all of a sudden? What was that like, and what has it been like in general over this 6 straight games at home?
We actually, we enjoy staying here, playing at home. A lot of us don't really like traveling just because we're stuck in a hotel, can't really do much, can't see our families, can't see anybody. So for us being able to stay at home, was just like a celebration for us. We was happy that we was able to stay home, and it's helped us a lot. Although there's not fans in the stadium, playing it's still hard to play in Hawaii. It's still you have to come on that long flight, and you still have to play 2 games against a very good team. So. Um, for us, it's just been great, and we're trying to take advantage of it.
Well, you have of late for sure, and it kind of started in some ways, I think, when you guys were on the road at Cal State Fullerton, right? Between the first game and the second game, you told the ESPN3 crew after that game, there was a team meeting. I think it was players only, right? After the maybe you could elaborate a little bit on that after the first Fullerton game.
Yeah, we had a team meeting. It was all of us and a couple coaches.
Okay.
We all sat there and we just laid out what was on our chest, what was on our mind. Everybody just said that we hadn't been playing as one. We hasn't been playing, hard enough to win. So, and it had been showing, throughout those first couple weeks. So, our mindset going into the second game of Fullerton was, you know what, we're gonna play for each other. We're gonna lay it out on the line, and we're gonna play as hard as we can. And so we did, and then we ended up blowing them out. And I feel like after that blowout went against Fullerton, and we got back into that locker room, you could just see a lot more energy, a lot more life with this team. It was like a light switch that went off, and we knew that we had seen what we was able to do, and we knew that we could keep on riding that wave. So with Irvine coming in that next week, we knew what we had to do. We had to play hard. They're a very good team, and we showed that we could play together. And so that was the biggest takeaway from that meeting Friday night.
I apologize for my dog in the background.
It's all good.
Yeah, she's hyper. But Justin, I mean, how much of those elements did you feel translated into that UC Irvine series? Because Irvine has been that that thorn in the side kind of team for Hawaii for honestly as long as Hawaii's been in the Big West for the most part. So. Can you describe the feeling of after dropping a close one to them, a 2-point game in which, it came down to the last shot, basically coming back the next day and somehow finding a way to pull out that game in overtime? Can you compare that specific game to anything else you've been a part of?
No, I cannot. When we lost the first game, we knew we shouldn't have lost because we played well enough to win, but we didn't execute, necessarily down the stretch. So we knew we had let one slip away, but we knew coming in that second day, we had a great feeling about the game. We knew what we had to do. We knew we had to lock in defensively again and play as hard as we could. And that's what we did. Credit to the coaches and my team, but we really locked in that second day, and we knew what we had to do. And the feeling in that gym from walk around to when game time was a different feeling I've never felt before.
And then to close that game, Justin, you guys made up an insane double-digit deficit in the final few minutes, just playing balls to the wall. It looked like, and Junior Madut came up with some huge plays, obviously, and then you guys survive in overtime despite a few consecutive turnovers there down the stretch. How did that happen?
Man, one thing that Coach Gannett preaches is a fight. We're gonna fight to the end. We're gonna fight till that buzzer hits 0. So it's 2.5 minutes. 2.5 minutes. We're down 10. We knew that their guards really didn't like pressure. So we was like, look, we're gonna up the like we have been doing pretty much all game. We have been taking them out their rhythm all game. But we felt like we could have still did more. So that last 2.5 minutes, we upped the pressure a lot more. We got some turnovers and we executed. In transition and offensively. So that's all you could ask for.
All right. So, Justin, this past weekend series, as we said, you were named the Big West Player of the Week. You shot an incredible 13 out of 15 from the field, only 2 shots missed between those 2 games. On fire from 3-point range, basically never missed from 3. I think you might have had 1 maybe. But what kind of zone did you feel like you were in those 2 games?
I was locked in. I always talk to my dad, and I'm always watching the Last Dance. I'm just seeing how these players get locked in for games, and seeing how Michael Jordan he made a statement of how, every game there's somebody watching. There's somebody watching on TV. There's little kids watching. So I always want to go out there and I will always want to put on a show. I always want to make sure that my effort and my energy level is out there because there's little kids that look up to us, especially here in Hawaii. So I was very locked in the zone from the whole week because we really didn't execute to where we wanted to against Irvine, but we knew coming in this week that we had to execute and score the basketball, and that's what we did. And I just had a nice rhythm and I had it going. So.
Well, that brought your shooting percentage for the whole season up to 51% from the floor in general, and you're in the 40s from 3-point range. Can you speak to that jump in efficiency? I mean, it's been growing as the season's progressed compared to your freshman year when you were, as Coach Gannott likes to say, thrown into the fire. You got starts, you got playing time as a true freshman. Not all freshmen, get that kind of role right when they come into a Division I program, right? And you had to put up, double-digit shots from the field a lot of times, and you got some points, you got some opportunities, but the shooting percentage wasn't always there. So can you talk about how that really seemed to change and improve to this point in this season?
My role's a little different this year. I have more of an opportunity to showcase what I'm good at. Last year we had Eddie. We had Samuta, we had Bugs, those guys were key guys for our offense. So, I was still trying to find my rhythm within the offense. This year I kind of, lately I've been able to find my rhythm within the offense. I don't really have to force any shots. I can kind of pick and choose my spots and pick and choose where I want to shoot. So, from freshman to sophomore year, I've definitely gotten a lot more comfortable. I've definitely found more of a rhythm. And, that's been the case of my shooting percentages going up.
And I think, an underrated and remarkable part of that as well is your cast around you has changed dramatically from last year, right? I mean, it's kind of you and Mate as the guys from last year, right? Still doing your thing. And obviously Mate stepped up quite a bit this year, as has yourself. How have you been able to incorporate all those new faces around you, get used to their games, while growing your own at the same time? And I might add, you are a co-captain as a sophomore, which also has been pointed out many times is not very common for a D1 program in Hawaii. You're the first one since like the 70s or something like that to have captaincy as a sophomore. So how have you kind of incorporated all those things with the backdrop of a new cast around you at the same time?
A lot of people, early on in the year, we weren't really, we still didn't know how to play with each other. We've only played 2 games against D2 schools. Not really what we wanted to do. So, we didn't get a normal preseason. We didn't get a normal off season. So we were still trying to figure out how to play with each other. So, going on down these games, we're still trying to figure everybody out, against Bakersfield. When we dropped those 2, it was very hard for us. We still didn't have any type of rhythm, any type of flow offensively. But now that these games are starting progressing, we're starting to figure out each other's games, starting to figure out where people want the ball, their spots. And so it's becoming a lot easier.
Gotcha. And Justin, you personally, you're the thing that the coaching staff I know has lauded for you, and has been observed of you many times is, your voice, your talk on the team, which I think is a big part of why you got that nod for co-captaincy. And that was apparent to an extent last year, but I'm sure you've taken that up a notch. Has that always been a part of your personality? I mean, where does that come from? That confidence to make your voice heard?
My parents always said like I never had a problem talking or making friends when I was younger. So, I always love to talk. I always love to have fun, especially with basketball. Basketball is about competing and having fun. So, I try to bring out my personality and try to connect with other people on the team. So, I've always kind of had that factor of connecting with people easily, just because I played for my dad. So, he would always bring in people, and I was the only one that pretty much knew that offense because I was the only one that had played with my dad. So, being able to teach these guys the offense and incorporate them and creating a bond with them has been fun, and it's something that I've been able to do ever since I was in middle school. So,
so last year when you came in as a true freshman, and like we talked about, you had a substantial role on that team last year. Were your teammates receptive to a true freshman, talking and making himself heard, or is that something they had to get used to over time?
I think it was something, I didn't really know if they knew how to play because I committed so late. I committed, 2 weeks before I had to come out here. So, My whole thing was I wasn't really gonna say much early. I just wanted to show that I belonged here and that I could really play. And then as the season went on and I showed them that I could really play and I could really hoop, I think they started entrusting me and in my voice and everything.
So, Justin, since you mentioned it, committing and coming out here right before last season, right? You were maybe one of the last guys in the door on that team. Can you just talk about the road you took? How did that all transpire? When did really Hawaii become the option for you?
It's actually funny because, I really didn't have much coming out of high school. I didn't really have anything. There was a lot of nights where I cried, a lot of nights where I prayed because I just didn't know where I was going to go. So there was one other school called Siena College in New York I took a visit to. They was very heavy on me for a while. So I went and took a visit out there. Everything was pretty good. And I thought, Hawaii had just literally started recruiting me a week before I went to Siena. So I went to Siena and I'm thinking like, I'm going to commit here. This is the school I'm going to be at. I'm just getting my mind prepared to go here. And then my dad said, how about we take one more visit to Hawaii? And I said, okay, cool. Go to Hawaii, take a trip, nothing. I didn't really expect anything. I didn't really expect anything. I thought my mind was made up on going to Siena College in New York. So I came out here and then just the vibe with the coaches and everything was just different. Coach Gannett showed me ways of how he could play me, and the coaching staff was just so family oriented, and I loved it. So leaving Hawaii and going back home and talking with my family, I told him, I said, I think Hawaii may be the best fit. I said, let's pray on it for a couple of days, but I think Hawaii may be the best fit. And so we prayed on it. I talked to my grandparents. I talked to my sister because my sister's my best friend. And so I was telling her, like, I think Hawaii may be the fit. It may be far, but I think it's the best one. And my sister was just telling me to follow my heart and that, she'd always support me. And so when it came down to it, I picked Hawaii, and, I'm grateful and I'm blessed that I picked this school, and I'm grateful for the opportunity I've been able to have.
So you were almost a Siena Saint. I think that's their nickname, right, Justin?
Yes. Yes.
Almost a Siena Saint up there in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. That would have been quite a different experience, I have to imagine. Justin, you've made reference to your father, Jeff Webster, right? He was a former Oklahoma standout all-conference player for the Sooners. Went on as a second round NBA draft pick for the Miami Heat.
Yes, sir.
What kind of role did he have in your upbringing, basketball and otherwise? And it sounds like you still kind of lean on him a lot for advice and communication.
Yeah, my dad has been to places and done the things I want to do. So, growing up, he was very, very hard on me. People don't understand how hard he was on me. At times I would get frustrated because I didn't understand why he was so hard on me. But he saw something in me that, only parents could see, only a father figure could see. So, I didn't really I really didn't understand why until I got to middle school. I got to middle school and realized, like, wow, like my skill set is very much higher than a lot of these kids I'm playing against. So ever since middle school into high school and now, I lean on him for everything. He's been through a lot of the things I've been through. So anytime I have a question, I ask him, and he's always able to lead me in the right direction. He's always able to tell me the right thing. So I appreciate him. He's been a great father figure, and I love him.
How different, out of curiosity, was his game, or maybe he still plays, does his thing at all?
Nah, he doesn't play at all.
Okay.
He won't even play me one-on-one anymore. I don't know why.
What age did that stop?
I want to say that stopped early, like when I was in like 4th, 5th grade, maybe he stopped. It was a wrap. He couldn't.
Wow.
It was early.
Okay, maybe you were getting too good too fast or something like that.
Evidently. I don't think he was ready. I was getting too fast, too quick for him. So I think he slowed it down.
Well, Justin, have you seen like much film of your dad? I mean, how have you kind of patterned some of the stuff you're doing to what he did, or what's the compare and contrast like with your game and his game?
Me and him really could shoot the basketball. He was a big man, so he played a 4. He played like the 4. He was more of a post up, mid-range guy. His mid-range is definitely way better than mine. That was his game. I shoot the 3 way better than him, but one thing I take away from his game is the way he shot the basketball and the way he picked his spots. He knew where his spots were on the floor, and he went to them in certain situations when they need the bucket or if he had it going. So I definitely take the shooting away from him. I handle the ball better, a lot better than he did because he didn't really dribble the basketball. But yeah, that's one thing I take away from his game.
So he's a mid-range guy. Does he kind of bemoan like how the game has changed over time? No one takes mid-range anymore.
Yeah, nah, he's just like, people, everything is three or getting all the way to the basket. Nobody shoots the mid range anymore. So he's just kind of like, you know, he taught me how to shoot the basketball. So now me being able to shoot threes, he's just saying like, man, the game has changed a lot because all he did was shoot mid range. So
Well, Justin, I will say your shot, I mean, it's a very easy stroke. It doesn't look like it takes a lot of effort on your part. It's just kind of a fluid motion. How has that been honed or crafted over time as far as your shooting motion?
My dad never really let me shoot threes up until I was in middle school. Everything was, there's the charge circle. And so I would always, every day, every single day, for the first 30, 45 minutes of the workout with the heavy ball, I would shoot about 25 going all the way around and all the way back. And, some days he made me do, 10 in a row all net. So, that he was just building touch. He was just building touch, getting me familiar with shooting the basketball. And, once I got to around middle school and a certain age where I was strong enough to shoot the three, everything it was just natural. Like I just naturally had a nice touch to my jump shot. And I just, the more I kept on practicing and the more I was able to, shoot deeper, shoot farther, and it became a lot more easier.
So it sounds like you weren't even really, that part of the game wasn't introduced to you until you were kind of physically ready for it or close to that.
Yes,
gotcha.
Sir.
I mean, it seems like it's paid off in the long run for you. Justin, I'm curious. I want to ask you a little bit about, you've touched on your younger days, your middle school days, high school wise. I mean, you came here from the Hargrave Military Academy. What was that experience like? What was your reaction when, I guess, it was decided you'd be going to a military academy? And how has that shaped who you are to this day?
Leaving my school in Dallas, Texas was very hard. I had been there since the first grade. I had made, lifelong friendships. I still talk to all my brothers from the school, but leaving that school was very tough. I didn't actually think it would happen, ever, but it came down to me, me wanting more, me wanting to play against, better competition and everything. So when it came down to it, Hargrave was the first school that reached out. And, once they reached out, my dad was like, we have to go take a visit. We got to find you a school quickly because it was somewhere between mid-June, July, where it was time for me to pick a school. So I didn't know where I was going. So we went out there and, everything they told me, I just loved it. It was a military school. I had to cut my hair, but I was there for one reason. That was to play basketball. Going there was very tough, very tough, in a military uniform every day. Hot, cold. Where I stayed, there was no AC or there was no heat. So whatever the temperature was outside was what it was inside. So if it's 90 degrees outside, it's 90 degrees inside. If it's 20 degrees outside, it's 20 degrees inside. So it was very, very tough. It was a very disciplined, oriented school. You had to do everything right, everything to perfection. I had to make my bed every morning, had to clean my room every morning. Everything had to be spotless. And, it just taught me, how to live on my own and prepare me for the college life. I currently live by myself out here, so I'm taking care of my room. I don't make my bed every day. I don't do that, but I do clean my room. I do make sure I do all the necessary things I have to do to keep my room clean. So credit to Hargrave, but they turned me into the man I am today. And I'm blessed and thankful for them.
Yeah, well said. I do see your room behind you on the Zoom call. It does look fairly tidy. You got all your shirts hung up there, nicely done in a row. I see a Kobe Bryant poster on the wall back there. It's just past a year, Justin, since Kobe's passing. What kind of, I guess, figure was he for you as far as maybe a guy you looked up to? And do you remember your reaction on that day? And I guess, did you think about that when the year just passed?
I do. I've had an opportunity to meet Kobe one time, and we sat down and we had a 10, 15 minute talk, and he was just telling me, things have had to be great. He said, if you want to be great, you have to do things that people don't want to do. You have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You have to work out. You have to work out 3 times a day. You have to do things that people don't want to do. And, he just told me, I'll never forget, he told me you have to be comfortable by getting uncomfortable. And so, that stuck with me ever since then. And when he passed, it was a very hard day for not only me, but, everybody on this team, my family. I felt like I felt like a family figure had died. So it was very tough. But I'm thankful for that talk that he had with me. I'm thankful for the lessons I'm thankful for being able to watch him and learn lessons for him. So, with it being a year, I can't believe it. I feel like the year went by so fast just because of COVID and last year being a tough year. But I'm thankful for the opportunity that I've had of growing up and being able to watch him play.
What was the circumstance that you got to meet him and actually kind of sit down and talk with him for a little while?
There's a big time camp in Vegas that I played in the league called the EYBL, and so the top players from the EYBL go play at this camp. Now I wasn't one of the top players, but my dad knew the people who ran the camp, so I was able to go there and I was able to watch. And he after the camp one day, they said that Kobe was in the building, that he was coming to talk to the players and come and talk to the people in there. So I was able to sit in the room with all those players and hear him talk. And then after, I was able to, share a moment with him, dap him up, take a picture with him and everything. So it was a very awe-inspiring moment, and I'll never forget it.
Oh, that's awesome. So did you grow up, were you a Lakers fan or more of a Mavs fan? I mean, you're a Dallas guy, right?
No, I always grew up a Lakers fan. When I first figured out what basketball was, and I watched TV and I figured out who Kobe was, I was a Lakers fan from that point on.
Wow. Even and through now to the LeBron era?
Still now, I'm a Lakers fan. I'm a Lakers fan because of Kobe, and I still support him.
I feel like there's been an inordinate amount of Lakers fans on as guests on this podcast. As a lifelong Spurs fan, this is kind of a disturbing development for me. I'm gonna have to do something about this, but that's fine. I'll allow it for the moment. Justin, what's the other? You got like a jersey hanging up behind you.
There's so that's my high school jersey, the blue one of when I was at my high school in Texas. My it's Prestonwood Christian Academy jersey, and then that's my EYBL jersey of when I played in EYBL.
Nice, awesome. All right, let's jump back for a couple more questions to this weekend, Justin. The task at hand with UC Santa Barbara. I mean, you mentioned there's kind of a Big West caliber player of the year player in Ja'Cory McLaughlin for Santa Barbara. He's been there for a few years now. Amadou Sow, very talented big man right in the front court. What do you think will be key in slowing that team down and doing what you guys hope to do against the Gauchos?
It's not easy, taking away their best players. We can only try to limit them so much. I've since I've been here or since I've been watching basketball, I've never really seen anybody take away their best player. The best player is always going to figure out some way to have an impact on the game, but we have to be able to limit his impact on the game. So, he averages 17. He shoots 50%, 45 from three with 5 assists and 1 turnover in Ja'Cory McLaughlin. So we have to try to limit, his assists, his playmaking, his impact on the game. And then for Amadou Sow, it's just, we can't let him get deep catches. We can't let him finish around the rim. We can't let him get going because, when he gets going, it's as he showed last year when he played at UC Santa Barbara when he gave us 30, he's very hard to stop. So for us, it's just, we're going to tone in defensively. We still have practice today. We're going to go through more of their stuff today. And but we'll be ready. As long as we can try to limit those guys and make other people around them score, we'll have a great opportunity in winning this game.
Well, for your guys' part, Justin, you're one of a few players now who's scored 20 plus in a game a couple times. Kazan Jardine has shown he could do it. James Jean Marie, of course, Junior Modut. Now I think you are the team's leading scorer overall after your outburst this past weekend, with you possibly being, the guy at the top of the scouting report for Santa Barbara when they're looking at you guys and how to slow you guys down. How do you think you might adjust or react to being, one of the guys they may be keying on?
I'm just gonna, I'm gonna continue to play my game. I'm gonna continue to pick and choose my spots. But, I kind of, a lot of people tell me to be aggressive early, but, my whole thing is I got to find rhythm within the game. So I'm gonna see how they're guarding me. I'm gonna see how they're playing me, and I'm gonna adjust accordingly. My game is based on solely in-game adjustments. My coaches are gonna tell me how they're gonna guard me or how they're gonna guard us, and what looks to make and what plays to make. But for me, it's just going to be an in-game adjustment. I'm going to see how they guarded me. I'm going to see if they help off strong side, if they tag and stuff like that. So for me, I'm not really concerned with how they're going to play me. I'm still going to play my game and figure out have an impact on this game.
Last main question or topic for you, Justin, and I'll let you go. I asked Kaz and Jardine this as well, being that it has been such a weird year, right, as far as the protocols and the demands and the schedule. 6 straight games at home, as we said. You guys are getting COVID tested like a few times a week, right? Still.
Yes, sir.
What's that like? Is it just routine to you now? And has that been the strangest part of this whole season?
It has been the strangest part, but it has become a routine. Like, we know every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday we're going to get tested. So, we go in there, we do the tests, and then, I never expect anybody on our team to test positive. For the most part, we've all tested negative. So we go in there, we do the test, and then we just go on. We get ready for practice, going about practice in the day. So it's become more of a routine for me, but, it's definitely weird. I never expected, myself to I never expected myself to wear a mask everywhere and, in anything I do. So it's definitely been weird, but it's definitely becoming more of a habit now.
And a follow up to that, when this whole pandemic started, even before this season, Justin, what was kind of your level of caution, or as you said, you guys as a team, that there's been no COVID outbreaks yet within the team. You personally, like, what's your kind of approach to how to be careful with this thing and take whatever precautions you feel are necessary?
Wear your mask and just try to stay away from as many people as you can. That's been the biggest lesson for me. Don't try to be around too many people. Continue to wear your mask and continue to do what you have to do. Don't make it harder on yourself, or don't make it harder on anybody else, because a lot of people around, especially around here, are not playing with it. They're taking it very seriously, so it's only right for you to take it seriously. So wear your mask everywhere you go and try to stay away from as many people as you can.
All right. Well, with any luck, that will carry you through to the Big West tournament, and you guys will be able to play every game on the schedule the rest of the way. Justin Webster, thank you so much for coming on the Court Sense podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it.